Good morning or good afternoon, depending on your location. I am based in Michigan, where we are having some strong winds, but it is warming up here. Take a moment and just share where you are joining from in the chat. I'm Isa Simpson Mersha, a conference producer and reporter at Reagan Communications. I'm thrilled to welcome all of you to How to Turn Employees into Social Brand Ambassadors in partnership with Haiilo. Your brand's biggest cheerleaders could be among your workforce. Did you know that a social post from an employee generates 8 times the engagement than posts from their employer? 83% of people trust recommendations made by someone they know. So you should harness the power of your greatest asset to generate clicks with the creation of a powerful employee advocacy program. Today, you'll learn how Salesforce turned 25,000 employees into powerful brand advocates in less than 2 years. We'll learn more about that in just a bit. But first, some housekeeping notes. Be sure to use the chat function to let us know of any technical issues. Please use the Q&A function to ask our speakers any questions. There will be plenty of time during the webinar for questions. And then within 24 to 48 hours, you will receive a survey. And once you have completed that survey, you will have access to all the slides from today's session within 3 to 5 business days. Be sure to look out for that survey. Now, to co-host our session today are Michaeli Quaranta, Senior Manager for Social Community and Management and Employee Enablement at Salesforce, and Tara Hershen, Account Director with Haiilo. Michaeli and Tara, the virtual stage is yours.
Wonderful. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. We will go ahead and get started here. I'm excited to have everybody here today. So let's go ahead and get going here. So hello, everyone. My name is Tara Hershen. Like Isis mentioned, I am based in Atlanta, and I have been working with Haiilo for a little over 2 years. But I've been in the communication space for over a decade. I really love working with my amazing Haiilo clients. Hello to some of you that are joining us today. And I really help them to develop modern communication programs for internal communications as well as employee advocacy. And employee advocacy is what we're going to be focusing most on today. So I'm thrilled to share with you the successes that we've had with Salesforce with our partnership, and joined here with Michaeli. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to her so she can say hello. And I thought it'd be a good idea for her to tell us a little bit more about what Salesforce does. I'm sure we've all heard the name before and are familiar with it, but just in terms of what they actually do and the complexities of it.
Thank you, Tara and Isis, for the introductions, and thank you to everyone for being here today. I'm really excited to tell you more about Salesforce as a company and why this platform makes sense for us. I'm coming to you from Bend, Oregon. So Salesforce is a customer relationship management platform, and it's going to help your business manage their customer interactions and your sales processes. We have a range of tools to manage your customer data, track your sales, automate marketing, service, and your overall business performance. And because we're a cloud-based software, you can access us from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. And in addition to all of this, we provide a range of industry-specific solutions that help companies in various sectors. But beyond all of that we are already focused on, we also want to inspire other businesses to work towards a net zero world, equality across our workforces, and encourage innovation. So with all of that said, there's a lot that we're focusing on, and there's a lot of content that's being produced around all of these business initiatives. And so with a wide range of products, we have new content around our product updates, we have events and innovation being produced every day. And all of this content is being crafted carefully with our messaging, and we want it to be delivered in a consistent way once it hits the market. And so we knew that there was power with our 70+ employees and their networks, and we really needed a platform that was going to scale as our business grew and provide a value exchange between our employees.
Yes, great. Thanks for that overview. Again, I think it helps you really give some insight into the complexities of Salesforce and what we all had to work with as we were, setting this up, and what all you support, and not only the products you sell, but like really what Salesforce stands for with the global impact and focusing more on just the business, which I think is great. So let's get right into why we're here today. So we're here to talk about how Salesforce has turned 25,000 employees into social ambassadors using Hailo's employee advocacy platform. So partnering with Haiilo has brought countless benefits to Salesforce since its social media team saw an opportunity to leverage Hailo's offering to really revamp your social ambassador program. So, the first part is like, why even do you need a social ambassador program or employee advocacy program? So I'd love to really break it down to three main reasons of how employees, when they are equipped with the right technology, can have a massive impact on business goals. We know that content shared by employees, content shared with a real name, a real person attached to it, their picture next to it on LinkedIn, reaches on average 561% further than when it's shared by a corporate brand or the corporate handle. Secondly, research shows that 83% of customers trust recommendations from their peers over any other form of advertising. We all go and look at Yelp or wherever to see what the reviews are, Amazon reviews, before we buy something. So we want to know what other people are saying, and especially somebody that we know that we're connected with within our networks. So really with broader reach and better authenticity, you're already on your way to higher conversion rates. But IBM has also shared research data that leads generated through employee advocacy programs are 7 times more likely to convert to paying customers. So that's a big impact, and that's a reason right there just to to have an employee advocacy program. So really, in less than 2 years since introducing Haiilo, Salesforce has developed very inspirational and successful program to benefit its brand and global workforce. And that's why I'm really excited to share with you all today and have you learn and get a little bit behind the scenes of their advocacy program. So let's just talk a little bit about what this means. And Haiilo really helps you prove the value of your communications. And here are some very impressive, if I do say so myself, numbers that I thought I'd really start off to pique your interest and give you an idea of the scale of this program. So Salesforce has already seen over 2,000% ROI with their social ambassador program just last year alone. And we have on the slide 25, but now it's actually already up to 26,000 Salesforce employees using Haiilo when I just checked the stats again last night. So Michaela's going to dive more into really how they enable that huge workforce here in a few minutes. But I'm just, again, thinking of the impact of this. And they've generated, almost 800,000 shares on social media. And I think it's important to note that, about 70% of those shares were to LinkedIn, which, as you all know, as marketing social media practitioners, that tends to be the highest cost per click for paid media. So this gives a big impact here. And, obviously this all wouldn't be possible without the support and the efforts of the employees themselves. I mean, we all can put all the content you want to out into the world, but you need action on that for it to actually make an impact. So Michaela, can you tell us a little bit more about how employee advocacy is positioned internally at Salesforce and how you kind of get people excited and again, why you even roll this out in the first place?
Yes, we position this as a partnership with our employees. There has to be a value exchange between us and them, and we have to be providing a benefit to our employees so that they're enticed to join this program and that they're actually receiving something out of it as well.
Yeah, that's great. So I think, understanding a little bit of that, now we've really set the stage and the scope of what this program is. Let's get into more of the details of how y'all are really supporting this program and what we've learned along the way. So let's jump into our first question here. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you've enabled your employees to build their professional or their personal brand and their professional brand as well, kind of on both sides of it, and why they would really opt into this program in the first place? I mean, because I know, it's not something that's required or even expected of them as a Salesforce employee, but it's something that they are wanting to opt into, and they're raising their hand and saying, let me in.
Yes, absolutely. We really want to help our employees build their personal brands. And with doing that, we're helping them build their reputation as a resource for us. and providing our employees with the curated, timely, and informed content that we can produce for them is going to help them do that. Because of them, we're seeing results on our end too. Our employees provide us with that opportunity to connect authentically with and reach new audiences. And just last year alone, our Haiilo shares accounted for 36% of all of our organic social media traffic to our Salesforce domains.
36%. That's, I mean, I think we need to like focus on that and give that some attention. I mean, 36% of all of your traffic to the Salesforce domains came from organic social last year. That's huge.
It is a very impressive metric, and we are leaning in more than ever this year because of it. We say all the time at Salesforce that people want to work with people, and that's a big part of this marketing strategy.
That is definitely. And I mean, exactly, that really further, supports the stat that I just shared a minute ago, that when I was kicking us off around content shared by a real person on average is reaching 561% further than when shared from a corporate handle. So use those employees that you have. They're your best asset, and they're really going to help you kind of move this along and get more eyeballs on the content that you're already putting a lot of hard work into in the first place. So we kind of talked about that it is an opt-in program at Salesforce. So can you share with us some of the benefits that your advocates and people that are part of that social ambassador program really are experiencing using Haiilo, and kind of what draws them in?
Yes. Again, leaning into that value exchange between us and them and the partnership that we have there. We all probably at a surface level at least understand how algorithms work on social media. You post content, it will boost your engagement, you get more eyes, more opportunity for growth. That's really what we're providing for our employees. Our employees are going to see growth within their networks and more views across their profiles and content.
Yeah, I mean, so definitely, with a workforce of 70,000 employees globally, you have a very diverse workforce. And I think this also is important to touch on, that there's varying social media comfort levels of the employees that you support. So can you explain more a little bit how you're supporting that, and from all ranges of the scope? Yes,
we have a variety of users, I would say. We have our super users. Our super users typically range from our account executives to Salesforce evangelists to content marketers who are passionate about their work. They're going on their weekly, maybe daily, to schedule content. They have their own audiences that they're catering to. Perhaps they're using the personalization aspect as well of the platform. And then we have our more novice users. And while less seasoned social media sharers can utilize the copy and creative they can still post directly to their channels. And I think you'll see a variety of different value based on how much you're posting, but the opportunity is there, and we really want to make the sharing easy. And that's what this platform does. And for those who are more novice, we're enabling them to start their social media networking journey and get to where they want to be.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's important to hit on, just really the ease of use of the platform and the flexibility or scalability, and what you all have built out really allows you to support that varying comfort level, and really help with the potential growth of those ambassadors that are kind of just starting to tip their toe into the water of feeling comfortable on social, and not really knowing, like, is it okay if I share this? Can I say that? Kind of working through all of that. So I think that's really great, the potential growth of their networks. And then also, they have the potential of, seeing probably, like 6 times the profile views whenever they are being more active on social and doing it on a regular basis. Consistency is key. That's what we keep, coming back to as you're sharing out here. Mm-hmm. So let's move into the next question here. We talked about, making it easy for people to share, or to, really start or even enhance and kind of level up their own personal brand journey. But can you share with us a little bit about how you really support the global workforce? I mean, you obviously can't be talking to 26,000 people daily and, giving them tips and tricks and all this. So, how are you talking to them and helping them use this platform of, 26K and counting daily? I mean, the roster is going up as we speak.
Yeah, it's really what's worked for us on this platform is the flexibility to organize our groups and our channels in a way that works with our global marketing strategy. With 1,200 new users a month and 44 countries, we have a plethora of new content and for different regions and audiences. And we want to organize it in a way that helps our employees find the content that they want to share when they're ready to share it.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note, I mean, so you touched on your, getting about 1,200 new users monthly. Obviously there was some spikes in the beginning of whenever you first launched it, there was, more than that coming on a regular basis monthly, but the 1,200 users monthly is now kind of your average. That's as we've seen it over, after the first year of launch. Now in the last year, this is kind of the regular cadence of just how people are coming and finding the program. And I think something that helps with this is people are hearing about it from their peers, but then it also really makes it easy for people that are interested, the ambassadors that are interested, to really kind of look into what's happening in the other parts of the business or the other parts of the world. If they're in the Americas, what's going on in EMEA, without having to dig through a bunch of information. They can, pop into the channel, see what's going on. If they're excited about it, or if they have a, network that kind of spans across those, they can easily go in and share content or be in the know of kind of what's going on within the other parts of the organization.
Yes, and we have a lot of countries producing content for Salesforce. And so we really have to lean into our marketing leads across the globe to help us manage that. I can't be an SME for every product, every event, every industry, every region. And so what we've found is that we also need those regional channels, region-specific channels. And we found this to be especially important in regions like EMEA, where there are various countries with different languages. And in addition to that, we use the language setting feature as well, because we want our employees to learn how to really fine tune their feeds so that they're getting the content in front of them that makes sense for their audience and is shareable.
Yeah. So I mean, all of that obviously takes some deliberate attention to really orchestrate and organize. It just doesn't happen by happenstance. So share with us a little bit. We're seeing all these big metrics. We're talking about big numbers here, but what does it actually look like supporting and managing this platform on a day-to-day basis at Salesforce?
Mm-hmm. Right now, we're managing our global program with only 2 people, more like 1.5, because I'm not full-time on it, and only 1 resource is full-time. So shout out to Natalie. She works full-time and she's listening in today. She really manages the day-to-day and is helping our program grow.
Yeah. Hey, Natalie, thanks for joining too. We're excited. You are a rock star. We love you. And actually, as it's coming out of my mouth, I think there was just a Super Bowl ad about calling people rock stars in the workplace. So you are a true rock star, and we are excited for all that you do. And thanks for your time with it as well.
She really is. I would say I put in about 5 to 10 hours per week, but that's growing with the impact. Again, that 36% number, that's growing. And we're finding that we can spend more time and attention here and reach our goals in this way. And I'm helping oversee the program from a strategic lens. How do we scale? How do we find new opportunities? Who can we partner with across the company? I think another interesting part of my role is that I also manage our community engagement and social listening teams, along with our social media operations. But there's this really nice marriage between our community engagement and social listening team and this program. We're listening to the ecosystem of the social ecosystem of Salesforce. So I'm listening to what our owned Salesforce channels are posting about. I'm listening to what our customers are tweeting at us about or posting and commenting about on LinkedIn, and how they're responding to that, and us also engaging with them. And now I'm also seeing how we're showing up as employees across the social ecosystem and how that's kind of grown our footprint. An actual funny story that happened just a few weeks ago. I had our agency and our marketing insights team reach out within the same week. It must have been after a product launch or an event or something. And they had to ask me how to filter out our employee conversation because the volume was so big. And my first thought was like, wow, this must really be working. I think I'm doing my job really well if people are needing to filter out all the conversation that we're producing.
That's right. I would say it is working. Yeah, you've put a blip on the radar of what's going on over here. There's a lot happening. So, I mean, you kind of hit on the, you obviously don't want to be a subject matter expert for every product, every industry, everything there is. I mean, nor would you want to. So, you have so many industries and things under your brand. So tell us more about how you really leverage those subject matter experts so that they can be the one, that's in the know and know the messaging and know what needs to be communicated out around, that launch or the topic.
Yeah, at the start, we identified channel managers who were typically, they were program marketing or program leads, and they had their focus of expertise, product, industry, region, whatever it might be. And we asked them to be responsible for approving or denying the content that's submitted to their channel. Again, they are the ones who know best. They're the ones who want to control the messaging. And this gives them the ability to monitor that. And ensure that we're following the proper brand guidelines for their workflows. And not only did we enable our marketing teams, but we also enabled our social media practitioners at the company to submit content. We have a funnel into social, and so then we have some alignment as well across our owned channels and our employee advocacy.
Yeah, that's great. And I really think that's, one of the keys to your successes within the platform. You're really putting the power in the hands of those that know the topic best. And so you're not creating a bottleneck where, within corporate that everything needs to go through, or everything needs to be created or managed at the corporate level, because it's not scalable, one. And then, the subject matter experts know the content best, and being able to support in different time zones. And so having that, that responsibility spread across the organization has really helped us, what's really bolstered this up and made it the success it is today.
Yeah, and we're incorporating it into all of our workflows. Going back to our practitioners, they're constantly planning and publishing content. They're working with these marketing leads who are funneling the content into our social ambassador program as well. And so we've incorporated it into their workflow, and we view it as an additional platform to publish to within our editorial calendars. And then there are times where it makes sense to take those extra steps and use some of the features that are on the platform. Mm-hmm. A lot of times this is for events or our big product announcements. We'll use a newsletter. We'll include the Haiilo share links in our internal Slack posts. We'll make sure that they're featured on our top featured posts. There's different elements that we can kind of lean into based on the scenarios too.
Yeah, that's great. And I think for those of you that aren't familiar with Haiilo or kind of how it works, some of those things of like, whenever it's a featured post, it's putting it at the top of their feed. So there's kind of a carousel that they're seeing front and center, under their feed, where then they have the rest of the content through there. So, I mean, kind of continuing on that thought, how has really this democratic approach that we're talking about and really involving the social ambassadors proven successful for y'all?
With a company of this size, we're always working on alignment of brand messaging. Having one platform is an easy way that we can do that. We use it as our single source of truth. Our collaboration globally keeps that content flowing regardless of time zone, language barriers, and local events. And it keeps things moving through those multiple languages, markets, industries, all of those things. And then we especially see a spike. I kind of mentioned this last slide. We see a spike during our big product announcements and our events like Dreamforce, TDX, and Connections. Those are things that everyone across the globe can post about within their region. And so this, again, is another area that we leverage those features like newsletters and the featured posts so that we can put what we want shared in front of our employees and get it shared out in a timely manner.
Yeah. And I mean, you've really seen great results with, if we look at the metrics for just some of those, and we always are seeing a spike in activity during those big events. And that's also a time, I think, whenever we're bringing a lot of people in, because they're saying like, oh, this is where I need to go to find out, this and this of what I need to know about the event, or, who's going to be the killer band performance that y'all are having. It's always somebody great. And so I think that helps draw them in, and then they get on it and they're like, wow, this is great. This is easy. Like this is exactly what I need. It's a curated feed for me. It makes it easy for me to share. I can make myself look like a thought leader, and that I've been doing all this research when really it's populating here right in my feed for me, and I can share out and pick and choose what I want. So, I think it's just there, and there can be so much going on during those event weeks, that it's helpful, I think, for your employees to have, all they need to know and share within their networks really being delivered right there to them, in the channel they prefer, whether that's in their inbox or in their feed or in Slack or, wherever they're working the most.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a good thing to hit on, and again, a good way, again, of like drawing people in, and how are you continuing with adoption? So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about how you even get 26,000 people to adopt a new platform. We like to say it is easy to use. That's one of our goals, and we always want to make it easy to use. But y'all have also created some fun and, kind of interesting internal training. So can you share a little bit more about that?
Yes. Our training content is really the reason that we can continue to take on more engagement to Haiilo. Like I said, we are only 1.5 people as of right now. And at this scale, we have to have self-serve training. So we really leaned into what we already knew at Salesforce, and we produced a trail on Trailhead for our employees.
And can you just pause 1 second for there? Can you kind of explain a little bit of what Trailhead is? Again, people might have heard the name back and forth, but like, what is it actually, and who's it available to? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. Trailhead, it's an educational tool. We offer it to our customers, but we also use it internally at Salesforce, and you can build online tutorials to help your customers or employees learn about something. So we created a self-guided module that teaches our employees about how to use the Haiilo platform, and then also the purpose of the social ambassador program and that value exchange that they're going to see. And we, in addition to that, we understand that everyone likes to ingest their training content in different mediums. So we have decks, we have written documents, we've incorporated our call outs for this program into our employee onboarding, and we have a regular enablement post across Slack so that that are available at all times so that our employees can really ingest this in whatever ways they would prefer. But I will say that with the success of this program, we do get a lot of teams that reach out to us just to enable them. And depending on the situation, we'll sometimes partner with their program lead, or maybe it's an enablement lead for sales, let's say, and create a deck where the enablement lead will talk about the importance of them being on social media and building their brand. And we can talk about the program and how it helps them do that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you also, I know, host a social summit a few times a year that brings together a lot of the marketing folks, or a lot of people that are, putting that content together. Is like a place to share like best practices of just, what's going on in social overall. But then also, we've carved out a little bit of time for that to, talk about what's new on Haiilo, or, new use cases, or, new channels, new things coming up. So I think that that's a great way to kind of help continue building this as well. And almost you have like a community of, the admins coming together and sharing, what's working and what's not as well.
Yes.
So, okay, we're down to our last question here. But I think this is a very important one, and specific of why we kind of saved the best for last here, of how are you really keeping the balance between like the individuality and, again, people are sharing this out to their own networks, to their personal connections, they're putting themselves out there, but really keeping with the brand authenticity of the messages you want to share, all of the content, and keeping kind of that global brand strategy all tied into a pretty bow for them.
Yeah, we really want to provide our employees with options. We want them to feel as if it's almost a choose your own journey kind of platform. We want them to be able to pick and choose what they share. They know their audience is the best, and they should choose content based on who they know they can authentically reach. We've reached almost 2 billion people, and not all of those people should be talked to in the same way. And we really rely on our employees to understand their audience to do that. So we can do this by sharing multiple versions of copy for one piece of content. And after that, they can personalize it further. Again, like I said, some of our super users are really in tune with doing this. They know how they need to personalize it to make it sound like them, so it feels true and authentic to their audience. And that has helped us produce almost 2 million reactions. Reactions are how we measure on Haiilo. These are also engagements on the social platforms. And then again, leaning into how the social algorithms work. This extends their reach and our reach and boosts the employee's profile engagement. So again, the program makes it easy to share. And that's really what we're looking for here.
Yeah, and it makes it easy to share, but then they can still say to themselves, you hit on the, 2 billion, the 2 million reactions, people are interacting with each other and people are going to know whenever it's not authentic. And, it's like, you couldn't imagine somebody saying it in that way or something. And, I'm somebody that likes to use emojis, some other people might not be emoji people, but I think allowing them to, to create it and like you said, like choose their own adventure has helped a lot. And I think, that's why y'all have been so successful as well. And, really with your wide range of products and the different business initiatives and, you have all sorts of new content around product updates, events, innovation that you really need to be marketed daily. And when it hits the market, you want it to be delivered, like you said, like in a consistent way, but also authentic to the person posting. And so congratulations on that. And I know that y'all have done a wonderful job with your ambassador program.
Thank you.
So we're starting to wrap up here. I've seen some questions come in, so we'll get into that. I'd like to say thank you. I mean, this has been fun. Kaylee, you and I just having a general conversation with, a couple hundred of our closest friends listening in. So I hope it was helpful for everybody to get an idea of really what goes into this. We do have a full published case study around some more of these metrics. But tech is changing daily. And so this is why something like this is important. So, think about all the AI tech that has come around recently. I worked at IBM for many years and, we had AI then with with Watson. And I was amazed with what he was able to do back then. And then now, looking, at all of the chat, the AI, all that stuff, it's crazy. So we do need to change, how we're doing because everything's changing around us. So, we like to say now is the time to really, you need to act boldly. New ways to work require new approaches to communication. And that's what this is really all about. So I'll kind of wrap us up with one last question and I'll take a stroll through all the questions that have come in. Thank you all for submitting those and feel free to continue pulling those in. We purposely set aside time. We knew there'd be a lot of interest in this. So I guess my last question here, unofficially last question I'll say is what's next for Salesforce? What are you looking to do next? What are you excited about? And what's the next successful story we're going to hear?
Yeah, this is really, we are really excited to lean into this program more than ever this year in the spirit of doing more with less in this day and age of marketing. We want to activate around our executive with your new posts on behalf feature. We're going to continue to utilize our UTM tracking to measure business impact. And we're exploring the idea of onboarding our external influencers and ambassadors onto the platform because this gives us the ability to measure in a way that we've never measured before within our community of ambassadors.
Great. We're excited to be on this journey with you. Again, thank you for partnering with us. Thank you for sharing a little bit behind the scenes of this. I thank you for joining. Thank you for Reagan for having us. And now I'm going to hop into our questions here. So let's see what we have. Some of these I think we've already answered as we were talking through. One of them was around what additional incentives can we offer to employees, especially the sales team, to use this tool in conjunction with a plethora of tools they're already using.
Yes, so we've used the gamification tool I've seen it used within sales programs. This typically happens when we do an enablement session and partner with their program enablement team. What I've seen there is that they will, whether it's gift cards or there's not cash, but usually it comes in the form of a gift card, and they give out a couple, and they say, if you sign up on the platform, if you share 3 times a week for an X amount of time, then you're entered to win, one of these 3 gift cards. Or they can use the leaderboard and say, based on the number of points that you have, the top 3 on our leaderboard will receive the gift cards, and you can create teams within the platform in order to manage that. But we do put that, we help the enablement team execute that, but we put the work of divvying out the gift cards and everything on those teams so that we can continue to onboard new teams and do the great work that we do every day.
Yep. Yeah, that's great. And I think some of the other questions were around some of that too. So I think you kind of hit on that. One good question that I just came in is, how were you promoting social posts to employees and encouraging engagement before adopting Haiilo?
Before we were adopting Haiilo, we were using, so this was actually before my time, and we were about, I think around 5,000, we were using LinkedIn Elevate. I'm sure some of you on here have used LinkedIn Elevate. So we kind of had to start from scratch when we moved to a new platform, but we did see a lot of interest immediately and really fast growth at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think from whenever we were pulling this together, you were using LinkedIn Elevate, but then also just doing those like the click to tweet links and using those as some of your communications where, it was great. They had kind of something partially packaged for them, but you weren't getting any metrics backs on that either.
Yes. And that is the huge win. And we're still working through this with a company of this size. We're still trying to transition people to using Haiilo share links, because the click to tweets, while they get a lot of shares, we don't get any kind of metrics. We don't have UTM tracking so that we can understand what the actual impact of those click to tweets are. So this is a constant effort for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Another question is around kind of the that I saw in there, because there's a couple here, so I'm trying to group them together, of like what other impacts that you're not necessarily measuring do you think that this is having on, like, your culture? I know you all have like a life at Salesforce, and like your recruiting, and just like the overall like brand or employee brand recognition for bringing on new employees into Salesforce as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it enables them to, again, go on their own journey to creating their own brand, and while simultaneously helping us build our own. The way that we organize all of our channels is in a way where you can pick and choose. You could go in there and say, I don't want to post about Salesforce products. I want to post how great it is to work here, and focus on the Life at Salesforce channel. And so I think in that ways, it's improved it for them.
Right. Another question on somebody else popped it up. Have you noticed some turnover in your users, and what do you do to motivate usage, unless it's natural for Salesforce employees to be active on social?
Oh, yes. This is just the name of the game here. Not only turnover in usage, but turnover in employees. So we're constantly having to kind of clean out. We just did a big project with Tara and team about trying to remove some of the users that haven't been logged on in a long time. Maybe they logged on and then never logged back on. And that's normal. That's just typical upkeep that you're going to have to do with this program. For the users, again, we have the super users who are on all the time. And then we see really big spikes during our product announcements and during our events. And so that's when we use the features like newsletters. We have the email digest on. It is a setting that you can turn off if you want, but it's on for when someone signs up so that they're constantly getting updates on the channels that they're subscribed to. So kind of just having that consistent messaging. And then additionally, we run what I would call internal campaigns on Slack, just kind of advertising the program. And that's when we get a lot of teams coming to us that'll also help us kind of boost that engagement on the platform on a regular basis.
Yeah. And I think, like the word of mouth is what most of it is too. I think, you touch on like people are coming to you now and being like, hey, how do I get in on that? That looks like something I need to do.
Yep.
Okay. I think we'll have time for maybe one or two more questions. One of them is around how many variations of a message does your 1.5 person team typically produce to help your employees to make it more relevant to their audiences?
So this is really up to the channel managers and those producing the content and then submitting it to monitor. It's something that we advise on, but it's not something that we feel like we can keep our eyes on or continue to follow up on with the scale of this program. Again, and this isn't always shifting. What can we monitor? What can we not as this program grows? But our social practitioners who are posting that content onto our own channels are advised to post it onto Haiilo with verbiage for an employee. And then our marketers are also advised to post it on. So we're getting at least 2 options, preferably each time. Sometimes I know, since I'm on the social corporate team, that they'll post 2 options as well as their marketers will post an option.
Yeah. All right, we'll take our last question here, and then some of the other questions we'll make sure and get the transcript from this. Y'all are asking great questions. Thank you. I'm glad that that y'all are so interested in this. So the last question is around, are you publishing in 44 different languages? And if yes, how do you manage that?
No, we are not publishing in 44 languages, just because the 44 countries that we have presence in aren't necessarily publishing in that native language on the, so again, we have a lot of people reaching out to us and saying, we're ready to take on this additional ask of putting content on this channel. So we lean into that versus running around trying to find everyone. Again, we're at this scale where we need to kind of lean on our teams who want to be on the platform and have the bandwidth to do it. However, we have many regional channels who are posting in their own native languages, but there's still content that is being posted in English from those regions as well. We've worked with our localization team for our content marketing strategy to understand, where are you guys localizing content in native languages, so that we can kind of have a idea of who's not on the program, who's producing content, and what does that look like for each region. Someone in France, let's say, might produce something that is appropriate to post in English and then also be posted in our Salesforce channel, along with in the France channel in French.
Great.
Hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, I just got a ping that we actually do have time for a couple more questions. I was thinking we were at 40 minutes. We have 45 minutes. So let's take maybe 2 more. I see 2 more good ones that I think would be good to answer. One is, how do you stay top of mind for employees to send you content, especially for LinkedIn? She's asking this because she said they only have about 140 employees.
Yes. Right now, I am leaning into those business impact metrics that we're seeing this last year. Our program helps them reach their goals, and Haiilo has UTM tracking that you can utilize, so you can see who you're driving to that page and where it's coming from. So they can speak to that, especially if they're driving it to a domain that, maybe has a slash, and they can say all of this content that drove to the slash blog is from our effort that we've put into our Haiilo shares. And us on the social corporate team, we put a lot of time and effort into this. And so we make sure that it's on our yearly goals and that we're accounting for all the effort that we're putting into posting on this platform. Okay,
great. Thank you. Another question, sorry, I'm even bombarding, take a drink of water if you need to, is on the yearly social summit. Somebody's asking if is it for only employees in the ambassador program, or kind of what's the setup on that, on the social summit?
Yeah, our social summit is open to, they're all internal employees and our agency folks, everyone who is working with or across social media. So again, that's just another area where we can kind of market ourselves and show people the impact and what the purpose of it is and how we're utilizing it, along with, our constant always on Slack posts, our newsletters that we can send out, email digests, the onboarding that we've incorporated us into as well.
Okay, one question that I'm sure a lot of people are wondering that I saw come in is, how do you handle or monitor rogue employees? I think, and I'll start off with this is to quick answer that is they're posting to their own personal networks. So they could be rogue if they want to on their own, but Michaela, you have kind of more to add to that?
Yes, we've definitely dealt with situations where maybe someone's posting a lot or they're posting their own content into Haiilo. We've kind of seen it all here. And again, we want to lean on our leads for the channel, our channel managers, to decide what's appropriate. I have channel managers who say, I'm only going to approve anything that's going to a Salesforce domain. And I have other channel managers who are happy to approve content that's from a third party because that's earned media. And we're happy to take that as well, even though we might not be getting the UTM tracking.
And I think on that too, coming back to like this being organic and authentic, like you don't need to be sharing just about, your company the whole time. If there's been a lot, and I've seen success with a lot of my other clients too, like just post around like work-life balance or working from home or, what's happening in the tech industry, just different things like that, that it really curates the feed for the individuals to pick and choose what they're comfortable sharing and what they have most interest in. And I mean, like if somebody's in the public sector for you, or, something around education, if there's a lot going on, within that, having some pieces of content to share share with your networks about that, specific topic, or, even we have like some medical clients, so obviously like during COVID, there was a lot of content and a lot of, things from both sides coming in and, allowing the users to be able to pick and choose, what they really want and are comfortable sharing out. And it helps with the diversity of the content, on the platform as well.
Definitely. We do not want to police what our employees can post on their own account. That is for them. All we are trying to do is provide them content and consistent messaging. And we are extremely grateful that they are participating in our program.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, I think we will end on that. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you found this insightful. Please feel free to reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn. I put our website here at the bottom if you would like to find out more about Haiilo. I'm going to pass it back over to Reagan and Isis to kind of close us up here. So thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you for the great questions, everyone. And thank you, Michaela and Tara. If there are any questions that they didn't get to, you can always contact Haiilo, reach out to them. And that's at mail@haiilo.com, and they will get back with you. And you can always reach out to them, I assume, on LinkedIn as well. But before we close out, just wanted to plug that Reagan's social media conference is just a month away and kicks off on March 15th in Orlando, Florida at Disney World. We've got lots of great speakers and content lined up for you. And Haiilo will actually be joining us on site and hosting a leadership roundtable discussing how to launch a successful employee ambassador program with limited resources. So there's still time to join us. Visit reagan.com/conferences to get more information. We'd love to see you there. And finally, as a reminder to our audience, you will receive a survey within 24 to 48 hours. And once you respond, you will gain access 3 to 5 business days after to the slides from today's webinar. So be sure to look out for that. And on behalf of Reagan Communications and Haiilo, thank you for attending today's session. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.